You've got Aaron Sorkin writing and directing a historical legal drama? Come on people, this movie was never going to fail. The Trial of the Chicago 7 stars Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Eddie Redmayne, Sacha Cohen and Mark Rylance, among an ensemble cast of talented actors. The movie is set during the 1968 Democratic National Convention in Chicago, as there were massive demonstrations against the Vietnam War, which was reaching its peak. When a curfew was finally instated, this led to even further protests, eventually leading to a police riot. Following this, 7 of the demonstrators were tried for conspiracy. This is the story of the trial that followed. So just to give you guys a heads up, there'll be no spoilers in this review, so I'll keep plot details and character info to an absolute minimum. Starting with the positives, the acting in this movie is fantastic across the board. Eddie Redmayne as student Tom Hayden, he comes across as an everyman in the sense where he doesn't have any unique qualities that you will normally associate with a heroic character in a movie of this nature, as these characters tend to be relegated to professions such as lawyers or policemen. The grounded qualities that Redmayne conveys in his performance, it meant that I latched onto his character very quickly, as I empathised with his and the plight of the 7 throughout the story. Sacha Cohen is another standout as the founding member of the Youth International Party, Abbie Hoffman. Let me tell you folks, this role is a complete departure from the comedic roles that we used to see from Cohen, such as Ali G and Borat. He also brings a heart and soul to the character, especially in his relationship with the other defendants. It's in these scenes that we get to see Cohen's acting chops in all of its glory. As I was happily surprised by how much depth Cohen is able to give Hoffman, despite the hippie, extrovert nature of his character. Mark Rylance once again proves why he's such a talented actor in his role as lawyer William Gutzler. The reserved nature of his performance, it differs from your stereotypical heroic portrayal of lawyers in the courtroom genre. That was definitely refreshing to say the least. The rest of the cast are also excellent, with Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Frank Langella delivering strong performances in their respective roles. Aaron Sorkin's screenplay mixes up your typical courtroom drama, which, let's be honest, Sorkin is a master of at this point in his career, with the movie also exploring the protests and the police riots in question, along with seeing how the defendants are trying to build up a case for themselves. I love this plot structure, as it just meant that I was never bored at any point, as it was always intriguing to see the highs and the lows that the 7 experienced throughout their court trial. Sorkin also emphasises the central conflict for the 7, through the lack of empathy shown from the judge played by Frank Langella. This recurrent conflict gave the 7 an underdog quality, which made me root for them throughout the entirety of the movie. There's so much flair and energy in the way Aaron Sorkin directs this movie that most courtroom dramas they tend to avoid from a stylistic perspective. Just the opening alone is classic Sorkin, which is fast-paced with multiple cuts to each of the 7 that establishes everything you need to know about the story and the central conflict of the movie. Sorkin, not only during the opening but just the movie as a whole, he trusts the audience to try and figure out for themselves whether the evidence during the protests either supports or hinders the defence of the 7. And I always admire directors that respect the intellect of the audience as opposed to insulting them. The only negative I had with this movie was some pacing issues during the second act. Without spoiling any specific info on the plot, the second act of the movie where we witness the protests from the Chicago 7, along with the police riot sequence, for me, it lingered on a little longer than I wanted to. While these scenes didn't feel redundant, especially as, the plot revolves around these events in question, I just felt these scenes could have done with a trim, as it halts the momentum that the movie had from the first act. So overall, with fantastic performances across the board, a movie that's well directed with lots of flair and energy, and a screenplay that's compelling from Aaron Sorkin, despite a few issues in the second act, I'm going to give The Trial of the Chicago 7 an 8 out of 10. So, I now hand it over to you guys. I now want to hear your thoughts on whether or not you enjoyed The Trial of the Chicago 7, and what do you make of this ensemble cast of actors, so I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this movie review, hit the like and subscribe buttons, and be sure to hit the notification bell for updates on the latest reviews. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.